Africa's coronavirus vaccine efficacy trial has been rolled out in the Western Cape. Over 1,000 people have been screened so far to take part in this trial. Professor Keertan Dheda, head of the Pulmonology Division at Groote Schuur Hospital, he now joins us to explain the importance of this vaccine efficacy. Professor, hello to you. This is incredible work that's being done in South Africa. Tell me about the importance of having it done here.
Yeah, so just to quickly outline what's happened in the Western Cape, because this is really part of a national effort. And the first 8 participants were enrolled into the CHADOX study at the UCT Lung Institute and Groote Schuur Hospital in Cape Town. And this is a trial of the CHADOX1 vaccine. So there are many vaccines that are currently being trialed. There are about 5 vaccines globally that are in phase 3 trials and another 15 or 20 that are in early trials. So this specific one is the CHADOX1 vaccine co-developed by the University of Oxford and AstraZeneca. And in South Africa, it's a national effort. There are many sites involved, and it's being coordinated in South Africa from Wits University under the leadership of Professor Shabir Mahdi. UCT is one of 2 sites in the Western Cape. And in this trial, the South African component will recruit roughly about 2,000 patients, and about half of them will receive the vaccine and about half of them a harmless saltwater placebo. And there's a 1-year follow-up period, and so we will have an idea probably in Q3 next year when the follow-up period ends, as to, together with data from other trial sites in the world, whether this vaccine works or not. I think the importance of doing the trial in South Africa is that different populations respond to vaccines differently. In Africa, there's a slightly different genetic background. There's also exposure to a lot of environmental bacteria and parasites that's different from other settings. So it's important for us to establish that the vaccine works in local populations. There are also other benefits, like potentially in the future facilitating access to the vaccine. And also by taking part in these kind of trials, we also mitigate the stigma of COVID-19.
Yeah, and I think this is so important, Prof. If you could indulge me for a moment, I think a lot of people, if you just base it on social media, I'm not saying everyone in the country is on social media, but if you look at social media, Prof, some people are wondering, why does it take so long to find a vaccine and then B, to actually get it through the proper testing? It is a very timely process, but these are people's lives we're playing with, isn't it?
Correct. So it would be very nice if we could develop a vaccine within a few weeks. But generally, vaccines take 5 to 10 years to develop and go through clinical trials, and approximately $1 billion to develop one vaccine or drug. And vaccine development goes through a number of different phases. There's initially the creation of the vaccine, then it has to go through animal studies. And then we go through what we call phase 1 studies, which are safety studies to make sure the vaccine is safe in people. And then comes phase 2 studies. And so, for example, this CHADOX vaccine has been, the phase 2 results have just been published. And that basically establishes early efficacy. And that trial recently published in The Lancet showed that this particular vaccine stimulates good antibody responses and T-cell responses, and that it's also safe. And it's only when you get to that stage that you can then go to what we call phase 3 trials, which are large trials in thousands of people, usually done in several countries, over a period of time, to then establish whether the vaccine works or not. So we're really doing or trying to do within a year or 18 months what normally takes 5 to 10 years.
And just very briefly, Professor, before I say goodbye to you, when it comes to the people that are able to take part in this trial, COVID-19 is affecting everybody. Traditionally, a vaccine trial would target very specific age groups from certain areas, and I'm sure there's other parameters that you'd look at. How wide, in your final brief answer, if I may ask you, how wide a net are you casting for these trials?
Well, this particular phase 3 trial is targeting people between 18 and 65 years of age. But there are other components of the study that are looking at people in an older age group. The first step is to make sure that it works in this population, because even if you vaccinate this population and you know it works in this particular group, that will have effects of protecting other people at risk, because if the general population is vaccinated and it works in them, then you really stop circulation of the virus. So indirectly it protects various other age groups and other groups that are at enhanced risk.
Professor Dheda, incredibly important work, and I'm sure the entire country wants to wish you the very best in your research for this vaccine.
Thank
Professor
you.
Keertan Dheda, Professor of Respiratory Medicine and Head of the Division of Pulmonology at the University of Cape Town. It's going to be some time, but the top experts are trying to find a solution to this. Coming up.